Can you get traffic from Google without any SEO gimmicks? As in, can I just write content and will Google send me web traffic? Short answer is yes. So in this video, I'm going to go ahead and walk through how I did this via setting up a topical cluster, how I write my content, and how I set up my sites to get these results. So as you can see here, this is the keywords that I was able to get the top 5 positions for a SEO experiment I was running for a particular site of mine. I started this SEO experiment a few months ago. My hypothesis was if strictly building a topical cluster, that is a comprehensive information app of one particular subject, no backlinks, no programmatic SEO, just a few well-crafted content pieces, that I would start to get some page visits. And lo and behold, a few months later, we're at 1 million impressions a month. We're about 1,000 visitors or so. And it took roughly 26 landing pages. Some of those are indexed, some of them are not. So roughly. These are the results from my Google Search Console. You can see here just about 1,000 visitors here, and then the same over here. So question is, what did it take to get here? Honestly, Google is a bit of a black box for obvious reasons. They can't give up their secrets or the entire SEO industry becomes non-existent. So my best guess for an explanation of these results, few factors I think. A well-researched keyword list, and for this, Answer the Public is a really, really good resource. Good, compelling writing. So no AI filler, just actually thoughtful, well-written content. A clear sitemap, internal linking structure on the website, something that's easy, organized, clear, simple to follow, and then a very, very fast site. So I'm serving this via all static content, building it on Next.js and Vercel. So let's go through each of these in a little bit more detail, starting first with what the hell is a topical cluster. Lots of information about this online. I think the simplest way I can describe it is just a definitive guide on a particular subject. The way I think about a topical cluster is like a tree of content. We have one main parent branch. We have several children branches, which kind of dive into subtopics of this larger topic. And so my main content, my main pillar piece is going to be 5,000 to 7,000 words. We'll have a few subtopics, and we'll link out from my parent branch to the children branch where they'll dive into that particular subtopic. And each of those will have 1,000 to 2,000 words. That's how I like to think about it roughly. And everything's going to talk to each other with links here. So if I land on this particular page, I can go check out the subtopics or vice versa. Our goal here is to show Google we have the definitive answer on a particular subject. And the subject is obviously what we're interested in ranking for. So use an example. Let's say we're trying to rank a fintech SaaS product. We'll go through looking to provide a topical cluster on a particular niche like cash advances. So 3 general steps that I took for this experiment. Number 1, I did some preliminary research. Number 2, I mapped out that topical cluster. And then number 3, I actually wrote the content. And so broadly on step 1, what I'm trying to do is ask what are the 4 to 5 major questions someone's going to have around cash advances. Like, what is the floor of content that I need to make just to get going? And then the second part is a little bit more SEO strategic. What are the searches that maximize traffic and minimize keyword difficulty? So really what I'm asking here is, are there any unanswered questions that are kind of easy pickings, low-hanging fruit that I can jump at? I like to then map out my topical cluster. So what I did was just create a rough outline for like that main parent landing page, list out what the subtopics are going to be, just outline roughly. And then also in addition, those subtopic pages do the same. That way I have the skeletons of the pages. I can just turn my mind off and just write this stuff. So a little bit more on the actual research phase. ChatGPT, common sense will go a long way for understanding that floor of content that we need. Of course, if I'm building a fintech SaaS product, I'm sure I have lots of insider information about this topic. I could probably figure that out myself. Or if I'm just doing this for a client, or I just want a little bit more exhaustive of a list, ChatGPT obviously is always there. I like to use this content here. Again, I don't think anything's wrong with AI necessarily as far as creating the work, but actually using it for content is a different story. So this is the prompt I like to use to get me that kind of floor of content that I need. I'm writing an SEO topical cluster for the keywords, your keywords, so in this case, cash advance. What are some questions I would need to address to make sure I have a fleshed out content strategy here? And then it does a great job of kind of listing out what the general questions are going to be. Now, the real alpha, I think, to find the more niche questions to dive into, This is where Answer the Public is excellent. This is a product that Neil Patel had purchased, acquired. The H1 kind of says it, get instant raw search insights direct from the minds of your customers. And so this is going to help you answer the question of what are the people looking for? Essentially, what are the subtopics I need to address in my topical cluster? So inputting something like cash advance gives us the wheel below. We'll get a report with the list of those questions, the phrases being searched, and the corresponding traffic data. You see this wheel has a bunch of questions, and we have one data piece here, the cost per click, and then the other data piece here is the search volume. And so the game here really is we want to find that maximum of search volume and the minimum of the CPC, cost per click, listed for each query. A high cost per click query is a great proxy for understanding generally how competitive that keyword or phrase is. And so obviously the more competitive it is, the more expensive it is, the harder it's going to be to actually rank that on a brand new website. And we can repeat this for prepositions as well, just so we can round out our research and understand what those subtopics are going to be. So once we have everything listed out, we actually get to writing this content. What does the actual content need to look like? So broadly, I think it's really simple. And again, this is probably common knowledge. We're going to write the answers that you'd want Google to give you. So if you're searching for whatever query and it gives you a bunch of prose and it's very beautiful, but it's weird and difficult to read and kind of doesn't answer your question, that's probably not that's not the writing that we're going to want. So let's take a look at this example here. Does streaming affect SEO? And we have a very clear answer. Streaming can have both positive and negative SEO depending on the use case. And here are the use cases, and here are those positive and negative effects. The Vercel blog, which is linked out here, is a great example to dive into. So note the style of the writing used here. Clear, concise, it's almost encyclopedic, and it's confident. It knows what questions it's answering. And so this is a great resource to dig into as far as just understanding the general tone that we're going to want to take when we write the content here for our SEO. And quick insider tip, the CTO of Vercel, Malta, was the previous, he wasn't the CTO of Google, but he was there for many years, and he actually worked on the team that built out the Core Vitals project at Google, which is now a major factor in the actual SEO algorithm. So this is what Google wants, this type of writing. It's because this is what the people want. The people want simple. The people want answers when they go to Google. They don't want prose. So actually diving into the code here, building out an automated sitemap.xml. So the sitemap.xml is an XML document, which you can go to most websites. So just lists out the pages that are on the website, when they were last updated, and some other general metadata. This is just going to help that Google crawlbot understand what your site is in totality. So one of the advantages of using Next.js and Vercel, we can easily create a custom endpoint to serve our sitemap. So the code below, which I'll show you the full code in a minute, is the actual endpoint code I used to automatically generate my sitemap. My particular site, I ended up using a custom CMS. I leveraged Prisma, which is a database ORM and a SQL database. But this can easily be replaced with whatever CMS you're using, whether that's Sanity, Contentful, WordPress, whatever. So you see here a quick walkthrough of what this code is. It's just a general, TypeScript endpoint code here. I'm setting some cache headers for the cache. Want to make sure I cache this, so once I generate it once, it doesn't have to generate again. We have the programmatic pages here. This is coming from my database, but this can easily come from your Sanity CMS or whatever. I go ahead and grab the data and actually put in the site URL, which is going to be the URLs and the date here. Again, that's that metadata. And then actually generating the final XML right here, where we paste everything together, join it all, and then we return it back to the user. So broadly, I'm not 100% sure the efficacy of sitemaps, but we're able to get this easily set up. And it's a quick, programmatic, easy way for Google to understand what your site is about. So we have it, might as well use it, and here's the code. So it's even easier of a lift. So the next, I think the biggest topic really is why site performance matters and how to optimize it. So like I mentioned, Core Vitals, these are the performance metrics that Google uses as a factor when ranking your site. These are all publicly available, and actually there's a really handy dashboard that Google itself has exposed called the Crux dashboard. And so feel free to drop your site in here, see how you're performing. It's a little bit hit and miss. Some of the data points are sometimes there, sometimes not. But if it's there, it's an amazing resource for your website. This is the actual data that Google is using to understand your core vitals to rank your site. Once you are in the dashboard, this is what it looks like. It gives you that overview, and you can click into each one of them to see the historic data. But those core vitals, largest contentful paint, interaction and next paint, cumulative layout shift, and a bunch of other metrics are recorded here. And so, like I said, core vitals is now a key aspect of differentiation in SEO. So when we think about looking for alpha and beating the algorithm, we understand like most content is going to be generally commoditized. Something like cache advances has been written about plenty of times, but we're going to be trying to compete in this battleground. Performance is an easy technical win we can score in SEO that we can control. So if I make my website more competitive in a performance perspective, in a head-to-head battle, the more performance site is going to win if everything else is the same. It just gives us an additional angle to attack the SEO algorithms. And again, the combo of Next.js and Vercel gives us the most levers and knobs to optimize performance, especially when we're using CMSs. So like notice the line above, right? Setting these cache controls, you can do this everywhere. This is just a browser level technique here. But in the latest Next.js models, we're able to do more advanced granular cache controls. Things like tag-based caching, we can do programmatic breaks of that cache when we update our sites, for example. Just have a lot more control of how to cache our sites to maximize performance. And in addition, like we can build our site if we can 100% statically and deploy to the Vercel CDN. It's a great CDN. You can use Cloudflare pages. You can use whatever you have. Next.js just makes it really easy to deploy to CDN and update it if you need to. If you store it statically, this is the fastest way to get our site to our users, and therefore the Googlebot's hands. Therefore, optimizing performance and the rest of that kind of talk track. So these are the kind of the high level, walkthrough steps that I took in order to get to these kind of results here. Hope it's useful, but certainly I wouldn't say that programmatic SEO or backlinks are dead. It's just out of curiosity, it seems to be true that if you write good content that people actually find use in, Google will surface your content, which is good to see proven out, kind of demystifying some of the SEO fog. So certainly I think if this website can be taken to that next level, if I do start to add backlinks and more programmatic SEO and just try more strategies. But as far as the baseline level performance is actually really impressive, I think. So that's it for this video. If you found it useful, feel free to reach out to me at canogadigital.com. We'll talk anything SEO, page performance, web design, web development related. See ya.